You know, for a second there, I really thought that I Parry Everything would follow suit with the awesome newbie adventurer and have both MCs realize they were kind of strong in episode 3 of their respective anime, but no. One went for the self-realization route, which was the best choice, but in I Parry Everything, Nor remains dense and lacks self-awareness to his own power level. But I will definitely be explaining why. I think in this anime, it is still totally fine, and even the anti-dense trope crowd can enjoy this moving forward. So what I want to start with here is that I do understand why some people are very annoyed with this whole trope of the MC is super powerful, but he's super dense and doesn't realize how powerful he is, and we have all these interactions where he just is oblivious, and it gets boring, it gets stale, it gets old, and we've seen it all before. Yes, sure, okay, I get that. I do. But the way they do it in this anime isn't just some trope. It isn't just some gimmick. They have the story build supporting narratives of why it is the way it is for both Nor and the people around him, and how it still makes sense so far of why he believes the things he does, and how it even somewhat works as a narrative driver towards the story pushing forward in episode 3. First of all, though, yes, my man Nor here is actually using the legendary sword as some sort of shit shovel in the ditches outside these homes. So, well, I guess he got some good use out of it, even cleans it nice and great. So, good job, Nor, really putting that sword to good work, I can see. But the overarching point here, and what I want to discuss first, is that, yes, his denseness is a thing, but it's deployed fairly well. A few things especially comes to mind as you watch this episode, and that is that Nor, of course, has this self-image of being weak. And there are many reasons for this that I have explained before. You know, his days in the training school when he was just told, you know, you don't have any skills, you don't have any power, you should just give up. And his entire sort of supportive base of characters that have always been around him have always told him he has been weak, etc., etc. And he spent, you know, a good amount of time just in solitude, relegating in that, and probably internalizing it a lot as well. Which is why he sort of refuses to realize how powerful he may actually be, and comes up with continual excuses of, it must have just gone easy on me, etc., as we see in the mock battle, which I will discuss later. But they build it up so that in the episode, it has satisfying payoffs. After, for example, the princess, Lin, shows off all her bombastic skills, clearly Nor thinking that, yeah, I mean, I can obviously not teach you anything, you are like super mega more powerful than me, you have all these amazing skills. And when Nor goes to show her his tiny flame, and no, that is not a euphemism, his tiny flame, Nor thinks it is just the nail in the coffin to convince her that, see, like, this is one of my skills. See how weak it is. See how weak I am. How can I possibly teach you anything? But with Lin having the exact opposite impression, you can also probably parallel this to the mock battle as well, I will get into later. But when you see Lin, she has the exact opposite reaction to it and understands it in a completely different way. Because yes, of course, while Nor thinks that, I finally convinced her, I'm actually weak, and, this tiny flame proves it, when Lin explains to us later that, yeah, it is just the tiny flame, but the tiny flame was many times bigger than what even the, master mage, whatnot, that was the teacher for the magic class of arts, could manage with a lot of training. And of course, Lin herself trying to just use her tiny flame, and is seeing how minuscule it is in comparison, because apparently it can grow in power based on training and reuse, etc. And to Lin, when Nor showed her that, it just exemplifying that, wow, this guy must be insanely powerful because of the base power of the weakest, magic spell being so much bigger and more powerful than basically anyone else has ever managed to do, must mean that his other actual skills must be insane and out of this world. And it also brings her humility and builds up this whole narrative in her mind of, yeah, Nor is amazingly strong. He is extraordinary. He is, basically OP as hell. But he doesn't show off his power. He doesn't show off, insane cool skills like she did. And it humbles her. It makes her think that she needs to shed herself of her pride, and that her display was not a display that someone truly powerful would make to showcase why she should be made a apprentice of Nor, etc. And at the core of this only happens because Nor is so weak, or because he views himself to be this weak. That of course Nor, this doesn't make any sense, but because we see the reasoning from all these other characters, it makes sense why Lin and Gilbert, the spear master, we understand why they think he is so powerful as he is, or lean in that direction, while still Nor maintaining his belief that he is at a level he clearly isn't, or rather of being weak. Because it's set up in such a way, it really makes sense to me, and I think the general audience, of why both sides think the way they do. This isn't some contrived BS where obviously any reasonable, cognizant human would realize they are actually strong. No, because they made it in a way where it makes sense that both of these things can be in their respective minds of why they think the way they do for now. And of course, the massive contrast between Nor just showing his tiny flame and Lin going with all the intense, big-ass spells was interesting to see in and of itself as well. And just the silent strength, as Lin describes it, that displays from Nor. I really just like how they portray Nor as well in the episode, especially through Lin's eyes, that she views him as this insanely powerful figure, but someone that doesn't brag, right? He doesn't walk around telling everyone how powerful he is. He doesn't try to seek glory or fame or power or influence or money. He just lives his life for others. And he possesses this insane amount of internal strength and fortitude, and mental fortitude, but he doesn't take advantage of it. He just uses it to help others and be of service to others. And I think that is a really good, great way of explaining things narrative-wise from Lin's perspective, and also just, of course, again, to strengthen Nor's character in and of itself also, and how that also plays into Lin being so determined at the end of the episode that she is dedicated to becoming his page or his apprentice, because that sort of silent power, that sort of pure, let's say, unfeathered strength that he has is something the royal family has been seeking for generations. And as she knows she will be the next monarch, or the next monarch in line with her brother as well, that she needs to do anything she can to become that sort of person herself, to glean any sort of strength that he has onto herself so that she can be a good reigning monarch or leader of this nation. I think that also speaks very well to Lin's character, that she has this sense of duty, that she really wants to be a good ruler. She wants to be, an actual competent leader, not just some bougie royal that fools around and doesn't take their job seriously or their responsibilities seriously. Anyhow, though, to not go too far, like an hour into this, trying to explain myself of why I like this, overall, as I said, I think they have done a good job in episode 3 of still continuing to explain why Nor thinks the way he does versus everyone else, and why it isn't contrived and why it doesn't contradict, because they have reasons for both parties or all parties thinking differently of why he is as strong or as weak as the respective people think he is. Now, on to the mock battle, because this was interesting. I mean, at first I thought, of course, here we have the obligatory mock battle with the wannabe, strong character. I want us to dumpster this new guy on the block, and we'll have people watching, and we'll probably have someone say, oh, Sugoi, and, everyone will be surprised at how powerful Nor is. But again, this anime does things differently, and I really appreciate that. Because Nor, of course, again, being dense or not being given any self-insight here, just dodges all the attacks from this spear sovereign, as they call him, the best person with a spear in the capital or anywhere else. And he says, it's okay, you don't have to hold back, you can go faster. And it's like, okay, it goes faster. It's like, oh, no, I can still take more, you can still go faster. This isn't, enough still, and just keeps dodging. And sort of almost goading Gilbert into like, okay, you want to see what I can do? Fine, okay, I'll just go full force. And even as Gilbert, of course, uses his special, faster than sound spear attack that Nor still dodges with using feather step and physical enhancement, which also leaves cracks in the floor, by the way. Nice touch. First of all, I thought that, really, how can he have still dodged that when his only skill is really parrying? But as they explain with the tiny flame, because he's enhanced these base skills so incredibly much, they are still way more powerful than they are supposed to be at base level. I guess that makes sense why I can still dodge this insanely fast attack. But anyhow, Nor ends up treating this as, okay, I'm just gonna forfeit, I understand. And when you first see that, you think like, really? Why did you forfeit? But as we see from Nor's perspective, phew, I was lucky. For a second there, I thought I was actually powerful and he was giving his all. But I only nearly dodged that spear attack. Now, thank God this guy was holding back just enough so it didn't kill me and I had enough time to dodge. But sort of putting me in my place, saying that I could kill you at any moment. Of course, that's Nor's perspective, and you can sort of see why he got there, I suppose. But then, of course, when you jump to the perspective of Gilbert, the Spear Sovereign, he, of course, has a completely different view of things. And from his perspective, it's like, he just kept dodging, and when I used my sort of killer move that no human can really withstand, I mean, he still dodged. Like, how did he do that? And why did he just, forfeit? Did he try to spare me humiliation in front of my, subordinates? And feeling very humiliated by that. And again, just the completely different perspectives of these two, I quite enjoyed. And of course, then by the end, Gilbert having, I suppose, found his actual sort of rival in a sense, or found finally someone that he can use his full power against, which will hopefully make him happy. As I was also very happy and surprised, very surprised, they actually gave Gilbert a decent bit of screen time, showing his backstory of, yeah, he had a lot of talent growing up, and he fought everyone and everything from the capital to the outer boonies, but he never could find anyone that was a match for him. And because of that, it made him depressed, it made him just bored. He wanted to find someone in his life that could match him, or at least be a challenge for him, so he could challenge himself, become better, and give some spark to his life, I suppose. And that is what he is probably going to find in Nor. Just the backstory there, fleshing him out at all, is much more than most sort of fantasy OP power fantasy anime gives to characters like that. So I have to give props to Parry Everything for that small touch as well. Just helps build the world. So happy about that. I still have to wonder though why Nor didn't parry at all in this battle. It's like, I feel like Nor could have just parried in the mock battle, right? But he just dodged. Is that because he didn't feel the need to parry? Like, I can just dodge these things. I don't need to parry it. And he would only parry if it was sort of a necessity? Or was he under the impression that, no, I shouldn't use my parry skill here? I don't really know, but I guess it works as it is. Anyhow, though, if you made it this far, do please remember to like and subscribe. Greatly helps out the channel, so thank you for the support. Now, finally here, I want to use my closing notes to focus on the Apprenticeship and the Princess. So apparently she has basically every single top tier skill from every single class. So she is basically the polar opposite and the starkest contrast possible to Nor, having only the base skill of every single class, which creates an interesting potential duality between these two characters moving forward, and their respective experiences and how they got to where they are today. I did also quite like the note that apparently Nor, as I hypothesized in the last video, yeah, he's actually just become an urban legend. Like, everyone in every training school uses Nor as this sort of legend of a 12-year-old that trained in every single school the full term and just kept on pushing through no matter what. Even though, as Lynn says, even, a grown-ass man, strong warrior, will only last like 3 days before wanting to quit. And that lending her to believe that, no, this story of Nor just being, or this guy, which is Nor incidentally, is just an urban legend, and it's not actually true. It's just used as a teaching example. Though she somehow starts to believe that after seeing Nor, she believes it's possible, I guess, that does this sort of intense training and never letting up actually can produce someone like Nor. I'm not quite sure where they were going with that, but okay. But yes, as I explained earlier about Lynn, I do think she's growing into a nice character. I like her determination. I like how much she values Nor's strength and the way he portrays his strength, and also how dutiful she seems in trying to be as strong and wise and powerful as she can be as a future, sovereign. I think that is admirable, in characters, not just being a douchey royal. And I do also like how they implement this plot point of, yeah, Nor is basically the embodiment of this pure, silent strength that the royal family has, pursued for generations. And because of that, Lynn feels this deep need and determination and will to just do anything and everything in her power to just follow Nor around, basically, until he acknowledges her and she can just hopefully, in some way, in some form, just gleam a tiny bit of his strength onto herself for her future. Overall, though, I think the episode was good. I think they took a good direction with this. I do quite like how they end episode 3. I wasn't really sure how they were going to, have Lynn, and I suppose Ines as well, inevitably join his sort of group. But they did it in a pretty good way, and I think the narrative here is pretty good. I like the story they're going with so far, and I like how they are presenting the characters and how each character thinks the way they do and why. I think the world is starting to be more fleshed out, and I like that. I don't have any glaring criticisms of the show, and even though the dense MC trope is something many people, or at least a section of people, will despise, I think it is done as well as it is in this show that even those people can overall enjoy it, though I will still understand if it is too dense for their liking. That being said though, what do you think of episode 3 of I Parry Everything? Like it, hate it, leave all those thoughts down below, or any other thoughts on my video or commentary here, or analysis. That being said, hope you have a nice day, keep watching anime, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.